I don't know about you, but I just got an email from Ironman that has given us an update about Ironman Australia and Port Mac 70.3. Please let me know if you can hear me okay on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you are watching. And on Instagram, I haven't forgot you guys, but I'm just tuning in to let you know that some sad news out of Port Macquarie for Ironman Australia is that the race has been postponed due to the impacts from the recent floods that they had there in their small town and surrounding suburbs and towns as well. Thanks, Jace over on Instagram said he can hear. Thank you very much. Let me know on Facebook if you can hear me as well. I would appreciate it. Sorry, I'm just going to bring up some other bits and pieces. Where are we at? Here we go. Back over here. So sorry, a few people have said yes, they can hear me, and also they've been missing the Wits Up weekly grind. Apologies. Last week or this week was Easter Monday, and I'm trying really hard to make sure that I have some time off and away from the computer when indeed it is holidays. And then the week before, it was Geelong 70.3, and I was on the way to the airport with Ellie Salthouse, and it just all became a little bit too hard to get under control and get anything to you for the Wits Up Weekly Grind. So let's call this a bit one that we're just sliding in there at the nth hour for this week. It comes with some pretty sad news out of Port Macquarie. If you're just tuning in, that Ironman Australia has been postponed. For those who don't live in Australia or haven't been keeping up with the news here in Australia, there was a lot of rain recently on the East Coast, which Port Macquarie got hit pretty hard. And I actually was watching some kind of news show last night. Couldn't tell you what it was. Had one eye on that, one eye on the computer. And just watching it, I actually remember thinking to myself, far out. It was about a gentleman who basically got a dinghy or a kayak and actually saved a lot of the elderly residents of a caravan park just outside of Port Macquarie, but very, very close, because their resources were stretched in terms of, I guess, search and rescue. And I just remember thinking, geez, I wonder if the race will actually go ahead. I wasn't just thinking about the race. I was obviously thinking about the community of Port Macquarie and beyond. But that definitely came up in the conversations in my head. There's definitely many conversations going on in my head. So the official word just an hour or so ago was that the floods have really impacted the community, obviously, and the thought of hundreds and thousands of people coming into that small town for Ironman Australia and 70.3 Port Macquarie would just stretch resources way too much. I'm just going to read out an official line from Dave Beach, the CEO of, or the managing director of Ironman here in Oceania. This is what he said. Last week, our team spent time in the region to assess the impact of recent floods and what it means for this year's event. During the visit, it was evident that hosting the event as planned is not in the best interest of the community, who are facing a long road to recovery. While on the surface, the region has made great progress to get back on its feet quickly, the reality is that hundreds of homes, businesses, infrastructure, water quality and lives have been severely impacted. And what you have to remember with all of this as well is 18 months ago, that region was impacted by the fires, and then obviously COVID, and now floods. So I guess I came on here just to say, if anyone's watching, just to fill you in on the information that I've received, and I think all of the athletes would have received it as well. Craig Hayden has just tuned in. He can let me know whether all the athletes have received this information as well. I assume that they have. But I guess from a triathlon lover, a bit of a fan of the history of the sport, Port Macquarie is so steeped in history for Ironman Australia and has always been a big supporter of our sport. So I guess my main point for coming on here now and talking to you all is just to sort of, give that big virtual hug, but also just remind people how important it will be for that community, for us as travelling triathletes here in Australia and New Zealand. Well, by then, hopefully, some of the Kiwis can come across. And Craig's just said on Instagram, yep, we are correct. All athletes have received correspondence about this. And the revised date is now Sunday, the 5th of September, which hopefully that means some of the Kiwis can come across to Ironman Australia and we can welcome them back to... Oh my gosh, there's a helicopter I feel like it's a helicopter right above our rooftop, which is awesome because Frankie's asleep, so she may not be asleep for much longer. But yes, what I'm saying is it will be very important for those of you to return to Port Mac, give back support. Nick Mallet has just said, take it back to Foster Tuncurry for a year. Good point. That's where it originated. Ironman Australia, obviously. That's where it was first held. I keep bouncing around this, but essentially what I'm saying is it will be really important for us to be able to, if you can afford to do so, to head to Port Macquarie when you get the opportunity. Hopefully that is around the 5th of September. Now, I just got Pete Murray. Hang on. I just got a text message from Pete Murray. I'm going to see if I can actually get hold of him while we are here. There we go. Let's see. Just bear with me a second. Can you jump? It'd be great to chat to Pete, who obviously is the voice of Ironman here in Australia and Oceania, or Australia at least anyway, and is a Port Mac local. So I'm just going to see if I can actually get him on for a bit of a chat as well. So anyway, back to it. Hopefully everyone can revise their plans. We assume, and I was chatting to a mate earlier today, we assume a lot of people will probably look to Ironman Cairns to race, in that you cannot race at Ironman Australia in May. But if you can get back to Port Macquarie in September, I would imagine the town will need support from tourism. Now, Kelly Miller over on Instagram has said, thanks for the update. Plan to go to Port, but is there an option to transfer race entry to Cairns? Kelly, as far as I'm aware, you would have received information directly from Ironman, and I assume that it will have that information in that email as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I assume it will be in that email. So yeah, let's just go back to it. Essentially, if you're just tuning in, Ironman Australia unfortunately has had to be postponed from the 2nd of May to 5th of September, pretty much as a direct consequence of the floods that they have had there in the past few weeks. It will just put the town under severe pressure to be able to put on an event of that magnitude. Resources are already stretched in the small town of Port Macquarie and surrounding suburbs in the rebuild and trying to get everything, get all of these small towns back on their feet. So that's all I have for you. If you've got any comments, then please leave me a note either on Instagram or here on Facebook and YouTube. We can have a bit more of a chat. Nick Mallet has just said entries are open for the August running of the Ultra 355 Australia in Hervey Bay. Come on up. There you go. There's a shout out to the crew at Hervey Bay. Check that out as well. If you are gagging for some endurance racing, you can have a look at that. Mel Saltil has just said it's never ending, and it does feel like a bit of a blow as it feels like we were just getting back on top of things here in Australia, but our hearts really do go out to everyone in Port Macquarie and that side of the country. A very, very rough 18 months with fires, COVID, and of course the recent flooding as well. So we are sending all of our love, and we will be back there when we can, hopefully around Sunday the 5th of September. Kelly, sorry I didn't have much more news for you, but I assume it should all be in that email. Let me know if you were an athlete who was meant to be racing at Ironman Australia or 70.3 Port Macquarie. Give me a shout here. Let me know what you think you might do. I know this is news for most people who are just watching this now. This is brand new information for them. Let me know. What do you think? Will you try to go to Cairns if that is an option, or will you cool your jets and rally again for September 5th for Ironman Australia? It will mean, particularly if you live in sunny Melbourne, some cooler conditions in terms of preparing for a September 5th race. Susan has said definitely coming in September now. Fantastic to hear. Like I said, I do think it's important to try and support Port Macquarie where you can. They've given a lot to the sport that we love, so I think it'd be great if people can get back there in September. Who else was meant to be racing at Port Mac in May, which is actually was on the 2nd of May? And it was also the day after my 40th birthday. So now I have to rethink my birthday party celebrations, because I thought I was going to be there partying with Swiss, Caroline Steffen, in Port Macquarie, but doesn't look like I will be anymore. So I'll have to rethink the birthday plans. Anyone else? Were you intending on racing? Were you training to be able to race at Ironman Australia, which was set to take place in about 4 weeks? If my maths is correct, maybe less. 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks, something like that. What are you going to do now? Let me know in the comments. I'm just going to riff for another couple of minutes and then I'll get out of your hair. Hope you're all doing well. If you are just signing, because I can see people just tuning in now, this is just following up from an email from the Ironman Oceania group that Ironman Australia has been postponed from 2nd of May to the 5th of September as a consequence of the flooding in that region. Putting on an event such as an Ironman and the 70.3 event would place a lot of stress on resources and the workforce when they're trying to get back up on their feet after the flooding in that area. Joe Coomer said, we're in Melbourne for your birthday. Sunday I have a pub session. You choose the venue. All right, done. Anyone who mentions beer knows me quite well. Susan, last week of big training before tapering. Ooh, the body hurts. That's why I reckon it's probably the hardest thing is going 4 weeks out from a race. There's some pivotal weeks right there, and then for the goalpost to change. That's hard. It's hard to rally and figure out what to do. And all I can say is talk to your coach, trust what your coach says, and stick with it. Look for other options, and then hopefully you can get back to Port Macquarie in September. Linda Meredith has sent a request to be in my live video. Sorry, I can't do that at the moment. Bit hard with all the things going on, but thanks for requesting. But I guess it's probably a mistake. Fabio Trudeau, good morning from Italy. Bad news for the Aussie athletes. Yeah, bit shitty, isn't it? But obviously we send all of our love to everyone in Port Macquarie. Hope you are all surviving okay. All right, that's about it from me. Just wrapping it up. Port Macquarie postponed to September the 5th. Let us know what you end up wanting to do, whether you're going to change to a different Ironman. I'd love to see if there's any Kiwis who can now take up a spot on the start line of Ironman Australia in September. Now that do you call it a trans-Tasman bubble? Now that they're allowing the Kiwis to fly here and back, and Kiwis, the bird Kiwi doesn't actually fly, but you know what I mean. It'd be great to see, because no Australians could get over to Ironman New Zealand. So it'd be awesome to see if we can get some New Zealanders over to Ironman Australia in September now. That I guess opportunity might exist now that borders will open to our Kiwi neighbours. That's it. Got plenty of things to do, including having some lunch and another coffee. I've only had one today. That probably shows. Take care of yourselves. Hope you're all well. Carrots just said Hannah Wells no doubt will become a starter. I think Hannah was on the start. I think Hannah was meant to be doing Cairns. I think. I could be wrong. Decisions like that will be interesting to see what people do now that race date has changed. So let's see how this all unfolds. But sending all of our love to everybody in Port Macquarie. Look after yourselves, look after your neighbours, and I'll see you back here on Monday for the Wits Up Weekly Grind, which will be back again. All right, all my software equipment's changed, so I need to, here we go, finishing now.